So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down a pose that I found on Pinterest with the guy holding a heavy sword. Then I'm going to later on take this pose and create fairly something different with it. Not different, but just I'll probably draw him showing his musculature without him wearing the shirt. Now, as usual, I started out with the head and I'm working my way down to the body. And I'm just placing in all the big shapes to rough out the drawing and figure out and measure out where to place everything. And it's just a good way to structure out and figure things out when I'm placing things onto the picture. And I don't necessarily draw everything this way, but this is only for teaching purposes where I just start drawing all the shapes and showing the structures of where everything goes and how it works together and function together. But with this, I'm just placing all the big shapes. That way I can figure out where everything goes. That way when I start to erase it lightly and go over it with the details, I'll know and figure out where everything goes as far as adding in the muscles and things like that. And when you're adding in the muscles, you have to obviously have a general knowledge of anatomy. And I think for me, I'm going off of reference, off of a couple of books that I have that I always go to for drawing anatomy. And usually when I'm drawing different musculatures for different characters in different positions, I'll draw out the figure, and I mean, it can look, the pose can be any kind of way, and I'll just go back, reference off the book, and erase and make adjustments as I go. And that's usually during the practice phase. I mean, right now, so far I've drawn enough muscles to know where everything's placed and how to place them and how each muscle group relates to each other. So right now you see I'm adding in the sword, and I'm kind of just, the way I add it in, you see I'm just going through everything because I'm going to erase it anyway. I'm just placing everything in there. So the sword and the head would just look like it's like a see-through. But later on, when I start to add in details, I erase that head. So now I'm dropping in the cylinders for the legs, the circles for the knees, just to jot everything down quickly. I mean, there's multiple ways of doing this. You can go in using shapes. You can go in creating a gesture, contour drawing. I mean, there's multiple different ways to approach this and make the pose that you want. And sometimes when I'm drawing action poses, if I'm drawing quickly, I'll just do quick gestures of characters just fighting, and then later on, I may go back and add shapes to it just to figure out where things go. And sometimes I may add shapes just to figure out how to place things and how to measure things out, because sometimes the gestures can get a little crazy or look a little choppy because there's just lines going everywhere, and you want to make it as neat as possible to figure out what's going on in your picture. So right now I already erased everything lightly, and now I'm going in and I'm adding in some details to fine-tune the drawing. So right now I'm drawing the sword first, and because everything is drawn lightly and I already know where everything's placed, and you can see it right on the page, even though it's like a little ghost image. But you can draw certain things first. I mean, you can draw legs first, you can draw the sword first, like I did here. And because the picture is there, you already know in your head what it's going to be. And so right now, because I already have a general knowledge of anatomy for the back, I'm just drawing in and adding in what I can now and making adjustments later on if I was needed to. So right now I'm adding in the tricep, dropping that in. And a lot of times for my particular style, I like to make the characters fairly lean. I guess depending on the type of character, even if I'm drawing a big, heavy character or a chubby character, I'll still add in some muscle definitions. I like drawing muscles on different characters. Unless it's a female body, obviously you can't have it so much, but most of the female characters would have muscles too, so it depends on what I'm drawing. Right now I'm adding in those lines. And now for doing the elbows, I know a lot of people will ask, well, how you get the elbows and how you draw the elbows? Well, there's kind of a way of doing it. I know the elbows is kind of like it's like a box shape. I mean, I'll do a video explaining the anatomy of the arm. I think I did a video some time ago. If you look at some of my old videos where I did draw the arm muscles, but it's kind of like you're making a square and you're placing the square in, but I'll make a newer one, kind of like an updated one, since that one's a little older, but it's there if you need to see it. Because creating that box where the elbows are is kind of an easy way of figuring out where to place, the triceps and the part that connects to the forearm. So right now I'm just detailing in the shoulders, and all the muscles that connects to that. And it's just a lot of lines, a lot of different connections, a lot of overlapping. And as you see, because the picture doesn't show much, I'm kind of just, at this point is where I'm just drawing it in my style. I've already drawn the pose. I use the shapes to figure out how to get the pose down, where to position everything, where to measure where everything is going to go. And then now that I'm doing my actual picture that I'm basing from the reference, I can create my own thing. I mean, I could have just took the sword and not make it look like what it is right there. I could have made the sword look different. Made it look like a Cloud. Well, that is, I guess it look like it is Cloud sword, or make it like the sword from Guts from Swords of Berserk, or from Ichigo's sword from Bleach. So the possibilities are endless for what you want to do with these poses. I'm making sure I get every single detail in there. And I say the back is probably the most complex of it. I guess it depends. It depends on what angle you're drawing it from. Because if you're drawing it from the side and from an angle, it's pretty easy. But when you start to draw it, I guess probably in perspective, or when you start to draw it foreshortened, then that's when it starts to, the knowledge of anatomy is where it kicks in, because the body starts to distort a little bit, especially when you're foreshortening it. And it's real difficult. Well, that's not difficult, but it's real easy to damage how the muscles work on the body when you're foreshortening it, because you have to know how the muscles relate to each other when the arm is raised, and the muscles start to overlap a lot more because it's foreshortened. And I'm just going in, adding in the little hand that's on the side there. And I could have added some shoulder pads to them, but I wanted to just let it be the bare muscle. Or I could just made a skinny guy holding a large sword, which is typical in anime, so I could have just done that too. But no, since I'm a muscle guy, so I drew muscles on him. Kind of like the Baki series, and if you see my old videos, I did a lot of Baki videos, or Baki drawings, that, and also Kingen. I'll probably do some more videos of those, because I haven't done those in a while. I'm just getting in the hand, making sure I jot down how it relates to the sword. Sometimes when I'm getting the hand into the sword, especially when you're holding things or lifting things or weight, I'll draw lightly the body or hand connecting to that object, and then later on I'll just go back over it. Even though the shapes are there, sometimes I'll lightly go over it again, just to quickly show how it would look if it was weighted, and then just go back over it and detail it. So right now I'm just detailing the sword, adding the little details that's in the picture. It's all the different structures and designs on the sword. The little, it's kind of got a little lip I'm trying to work in. Even though it's a wooden sword, but this sword is must be a metal sword, since it's the drawing. I'm just working my way up. And I'm not using a ruler because, like I said, even though this is a detailed sketch, it's still quick, because no matter what, you can always go back and erase it multiple times. I mean, a lot of drawings, comic artists erase their stuff hundreds of times before they get it right. I mean, they can spend about a good 8 hours creating one page, or it depends on some people. I guess some comic book artists. I forgot his name. He spends a couple days creating one page for a comic book. So it just shows the amount of work that goes into putting details in the image and erasing an image. So if you erase, then hey, this professionals erase all the time. There's no problem with erasing. Your main thing is to get it just right for you. That way you enjoy it, people that's watching it enjoy it, and both of you are happy. Going in, adding the belt, placing the belt on. Then I thought about not adding a belt, but I said, well, let me just put the belt on, just to add like another touch to it. A belt, and I think I'll probably drop in some pockets too. And I keep getting a lot of questions of this pencil, and I forgot the name. I think this is a Pentel. Yeah, I think it's a Pentel pencil, but it's definitely one of my favorites. I think I got it from a dollar store. Well, not really a dollar store. It's a Japanese store, but they sell things for certain imports in there that's $1 or above. But this was this is above $1, so can't really say it's $1. But either way, it's still one of my favorite pencils. And it doesn't really matter what lead it is. I think this lead, I believe it is a 2B. I think I'm gonna have to go back and look because the number of lead for the cap of the thing scratched off. So when I go back and look at it, I'll mention it in the future video what type of lead it is, or I may post it just to show you what lead it is. But in any case, I like this lead because you can go light with it and then you can go real dark with it, and that way I can easily create certain shadows and things like that easily, especially when I'm structuring out things. So right now I'm fine-tuning it, adding in all the final details. But that's it for this video. If you want to see more videos like this, like button, subscribe, comment, share, and take care.